You just want to ask yourself these two questions. Am I having fun? Do I want to see this person again? That is it.
Nobody teaches us how to date. You know, we're just winging it.
I'll send you the
Yeah,
worksheet.
I'm gonna need that.
Okay, great. You guys like the same things. You have the same everything. And guess what? Your life is probably going to be pretty barren.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
I ain't trying to get between you. I'm just trying to get between.
Do you think affirmations are helpful?
So if you just have an affirmation of, say, like you feel unworthy of love, and suddenly you just like say the opposite, like I'm worthy of love, and like this is what I mean by like the harm of Instagram.
Yeah.
There's actually research that shows that can do more damage because your brain will inherently reject whatever it's not true. And so instead of like just an affirmation, what you want to do is you want to look at what is like an unhelpful belief that you currently have. So maybe it's like, I'm too old to find love. And so you don't want to be like, I can find love at any age, because it's not true. Like, you don't believe it. It's not going to work. But you want to find an updated belief that's a little bit more healthy and a little bit more helpful. So in that case, it could be, I am open to the idea that I can find a suitable connection regardless of my age. And that one is, I'm just open to the idea.
Yeah.
I can do that.
So something that your brain can process as being feasible.
Yes, and what you do is once you kind of create that updated belief, you want to practice it like every single day for like 30 days, and you want to start looking for examples of it being true. And so this is where like the science of manifesting happens. Like there's all this like, just manifest. Like, well, okay, this is actually what's happening. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS, and basically its job is to filter out the billion bits of information that's coming into your brain at any time and focus on what actually is going to help you with your goals or what supports your existing beliefs. And so if you have that updated belief, what's going to happen is it's going to start filtering out those ones that aren't helping that. And then you'll notice like, oh, my friend Miranda, she's 50 and she just, got married again. Interesting. You start to notice those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely been noticing that with a lot of my friends who found love in their like late 30s, and so I'm just like, this is not like, obviously that's possible.
Totally.
And I do notice it with friends. Like sometimes like a few girls in the friend group find someone all at once, and then like the rest of them find someone. I've been noticing like weird synchronicities like that, but it's probably because that shifts their belief system, that there's different kinds of love out there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's been research too on like marriage and how like when one person gets married, especially like within a family, it's like within a few years it starts to like almost spread, right? Like we really are influenced by our peers.
Yeah.
Even like people who cheat. Like if you hang around with a lot of people who cheat, suddenly like that becomes a lot more acceptable to you.
Yeah, and it'll look appealing because it's like they're getting this rush from it, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I could feel that. Same thing with drugs.
Drugs, it impacts your weight, it impacts your happiness. Who you surround yourself with on a regular basis is really wiring your brain.
How do you choose who to surround yourself with? Like, are there things that you look for, or is it just like feelings that you have when you're with people?
I used to be very cutthroat about cutting people out of my life, and I feel like that was a defense mechanism. And I actually have some regret on how I treated some people, where I'm like, oh my God, you're so negative, or you're so whatever the neuroses was, and I just kind of cut them. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I can tolerate people's stuff a lot more. But a way I check in is I look at what feeds me energy, what grounds my energy, and what takes my energy. And that's really a good starting point. Like I've developed a really healthy relationship with my intuition, so I can just trust that now.
For me, at least, if there isn't at least a minimal attraction at the beginning, it's not going to grow. I'm not saying it needs to be like hot and heavy chemistry, but just that I need to find the person attractive, period. How important is attraction? Because I have also heard stories completely different from my experience where the girl didn't like the guy at all, she was repulsed by him, whatever, And then over time, that changed.
So there's a lot of reasons for that. So sometimes we intellectually don't know what type of connection it is, but there has to be some base of a connection. When I tell you that story about that guy that I ended up feeling attraction towards after like 7 months, what happened was because of what's called the mirror exposure effect, it amplifies the base feeling that's already there. So if it's disgust or annoyance, and it's going to amplify that. But if it was a connection with this guy specifically, his name is Carter in the book, I enjoyed hanging out with him. I didn't understand why. I was like, oh yeah, like this is fun. I don't you, but this is fun. And so just that alone shows that there's dopamine there because I'm motivated to want to see them again. And so I think that's important, right? There's chemistry with everyone. Like I have chemistry with you. Like I'm like, oh, I would love to hang out with you and have a dinner with you. And there's some people I'm like, okay, that's good, right? That's good. And so I think when we're too quick to be like, no, that can be problematic because we can get really used to doing that. And sometimes I think, especially when it comes to the first 2 dates, this is what I train the people I work, my clients is, you just want to ask yourself these 2 questions. Am I having fun? Do I want to see this person again? That is it. Not, are they going to be my future, dad of my baby? Are we going to have a yoga retreat center in Bali? Like none of that shit. Don't even ask questions to try to place them in where they're going to be in this plan that you have in your head. Just focus on having fun and do I want to see them again? If you do, that means there's a connection. And sometimes the brain takes time to know, oh, this is a romantic connection. Oh, this is a platonic connection. Yeah.
Okay, those are powerful. I'm personally going to write those down.
Yeah. I actually have like a whole dating worksheet, and basically like after a date, you look and I have my clients rate from 0 to 10, being 10 was like, I want to rip your clothes off, to 0, like disgust. It's very hard for people to bounce back from disgust. But if it's a 5 or above in terms of connection, it warrants a second date.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I'll send you the
Yeah,
worksheet.
I'm going to need that. I feel like I should also like link it somewhere.
Sure.
And send other people to it. Because I feel like everyone could benefit from this.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches us how to date. You know, we're just winging it.
Yeah.
The appropriate word.
Yeah. That's what I'm like, and I've created a system and a framework that I swear works. Like I'd say 70% of my clients end up in a relationship. If they do what I tell them to do in this kind of framework that I've created. And a lot of us we just have some blinders and we're in it, so we don't know. But when you kind of remove some of those blockages, like the love is around you.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have it with our own friends. Why can't we find it romantically?
Yeah.
There's a question that I ask everybody at the end of each episode. It's the same question. But I ask it because I feel like it's so hard for us to put the messages that we think are important, I guess, in order of what most urgently needs to be said. Because obviously, I could talk to you for hours and you'll have so many things to say to me that you think are important. And how do you determine what's something that everyone needs to hear? So I came up with a scenario to help with that. So you're at the Oscars and you win an award for, say, a documentary about breakups.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear your name. You've won the award. You go up to the stage. You thank everybody you need to thank. Your parents, your boyfriend, Neil Strauss. And then there's that 45-second to 1-minute window where you get to say whatever you want. And it's going to be recorded, put on YouTube. There's going to be headlines. What message is so important to you that you're going to use that time to say it?
Whoa. Deep. I would say focus on building your inner foundation. And I think that's having a healthy relationship with emotions. It is not basing your validation, your identity, your self-worth on any one thing or even a bunch of external things. Because regardless if you are extremely successful and you've sold many companies or you've had 5 children, at the end, like, it's all about your ability to be your own well of peace and joy and acceptance. And that doesn't mean that life isn't going to be hard. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel heartbroken or deal with grief. But instead of seeing those things as things that are destroying you, you just go like, oh, I'm just expanding my emotional range. And you just have an inner knowing that even if you lose a job or the relationship or, your skin starts to sag or you gain some weight, that internally you've always got that. And I think that's a source of power that no one and nothing can ever take away from you. And when you have that, you make decisions in a very different way.
I love that. That's so powerful. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for coming
This
on the
was so
show.
fun.
This was so
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Today's episode of Beyond is brought to you by MoonPay. MoonPay is your portal to Web3 where you can transact with peers globally and own your digital identity. MoonPay makes it fast and simple to jumpstart your Web3 journey. Quickly use your debit or credit card to buy and sell crypto and purchase digital collectibles. Visit moonpay.com to get started.